Good morning, dear friends. Here we are for another study of the book Calmness by the Spirit Emmanuel through the blessed mediumship of Francisco Candido Xavier. What a blessing to be with you this morning, or if you're watching this on demand. We always feel honored to be with you. And today's chapter is about helping others. So Emmanuel titled this chapter Support Today. So today is the call of the day, is for us to support one another in the endeavors of life. And he will give us many, many examples of how we can help. And most specifically, who we can help. When we read these teachings and we meditate upon them, dear friends, I'm always gonna challenge us to think through the lenses of an immortal spirit. We want to think about how would I feel if I decided not to go through this, or how would I feel if I was the one who was in need of support, and how wonderful it is to be able to help others, right? Because there's a lot of people on the earth who are still needing to take care of their basic needs. So here we are today talking about helping others. So here we go. Chapter 29 is titled Support Today. And Emmanuel says, quote, if you can understand the difficulties of the soul, support all that all of those that divine wisdom has placed in the areas of action when they seem to be out of balance, unquote. He's saying, if we can deep dive into understanding what are the true difficulties of our true nature, spiritual nature of the soul, we would support all who we're supposed to be helping in this lifetime. He will continue by saying, quote, in the difficult times of spiritual transformation of the world, social groups appear to be in turmoil, like the soil when agitated by earthquakes. If you stay upright in the principles of elevation that guide life, feel compassion for those who find themselves enveloped in the whirlwind of unexpected challenges. Unquote. For now, he's saying here, we have these difficult times when we are going through transformation. In this case, the spiritual transformation of this world. Don't we feel like we are changing for the better? Yes, it is difficult for us to visualize the law of destruction, the law of preservation working on the planet today, and the law of progress for that matter. Things need to be renewed. We have cycles in our lives, so does the planet. So he's talking about here a spiritual transformation in the world. And what happens when that spiritual transformation is occurring? He says social groups appear to be in turmoil, and he gives us a visual image of like the soil when agitated by earthquakes. This book was published, the preface was written in November of 1978, making it 42 years old. And he was already back then talking about the spiritual transformation of our planet. Timeless messages by Emmanuel. Now he imagine an earthquake, everything is moving around. He says, if you stay upright, so if we overcome the forces of the earthquake in the principles of elevation that guides life, feel compassion for those who find themselves enveloped in the whirlwind of unexpected challenges. So we need, this calling us here to be compassionate to those who around us are unable to keep themselves upright when the whirlwind of the spiritual transformation is happening. Look around. We have evolved not only in the material world, more in the material world than in the spiritual matters. 2000 years ago, the societies were much more different, and we are slowly gaining ground on improving even more the spiritual moral development of all of humanity. So when we see someone falter because they are in challenging times, we need to be compassionate, the same way as we would like them to be compassionate towards us, right? There's a good point to be made. If we were suffering, we were down because of the earthquake and the whirlwind, we would like someone to extend their hand as they are able to stay upright. And then he'll give many examples of this type of situation. He says this person believed in a negative independence and abandoned his or her duties, which the execution would guarantee him or her true freedom, trapping themselves in the visible currents of bitter commitments. Another one admitted to having found easy access to a desirable renovation and chose indiscipline as the basis of her or his own experiences, marginalizing themselves in dangerous mistakes. One more, a determined sister considered the enlightened path of renunciation in favor of others to be a heavy captivity, and then she stepped into misfortune masked by illusion. Another one supposed that the home marked by blessings was a burden on her beyond her own strength, left her responsibilities to descend to the dark regions of repentance. We can say the same thing about husbands, right? Even so, do not blame hearts that are torn by the tide of violence in the journey of the world, unquote. So here he's talking about perhaps us, people we know, someone who believe in negative independence. I do whatever I want, when I want, and then we abandon our duties. Now, if we had stuck with our duties, Emmanuel says the execution of those duties will guarantee us true freedom. Now, sometimes we choosing discipline as the basis of our experiences, and then we have dangerous mistakes. And what is to be in discipline is to not have a routine, to not make an effort to do things at the right time, to meditate, to take care of yourself, to plan ahead, to have nutritious food, have a a clean place. If you are able to have a clean place to live, and discipline also can cause us to have dangerous mistakes when we feel like we can just do whatever we want when we want with no regard to discipline. And then he will give two examples of people who faltered and failed their familial commitments. So, where are we? Are we in the path of staying upright when the earthquake of spiritual improvement on the earth continues to reach us? What we are seeing around us, the exposure of society's ills, the lack of resources that people live with each and every day, and the violence and the fear. We need to make sure we can stand upright, strong in our spiritual values, understanding that as a spirit incarnated on the earth, my soul is here to learn, and those are the experiences you and I have to undergo. But we need to build the foundation of our life, the spiritual life, which happens first and will continue after the physical body is 6 feet under. We need to build those bases in discipline, in trusting in God. We want to be those who have a solid concrete foundation to put our house on, not on the sand, not in straw. We want strong foundation. And that strong foundation is built by sticking with our duties, looking for discipline in our lives, searching for opportunities of service in our family and work, and by being here today, this morning, when we are nourishing all of the cells of our perispiritual body and the depths of our souls so that we can better gather the strength necessary to undergo the difficult times. So, what do we do if we have those situations? He says, lean towards those struggling in the waves of disturbance, and as far as you can, to the extend friendly hands and save them from impending shipwreck. So, we should not be the ones pointing out what's wrong, we should be the one extending the hand and helping others. He's saying we are all travelers in the ocean of life. Self poetry, right? First, the visual of an earthquake, and we're standing still because we're morally strong. We can grow through discipline and fulfillment of our duties, and then we are travelers in the oceans of life. And so there's shipwreck around us. We can stand their hand to help them, but I need to be strong to do that. And also, service and volunteering also helps when we have an opportunity to strengthen the ties of relationship with our communities and give back, right? We are all travelers in the ocean of life, says Emmanuel. And he continues, quote, each of us remains on the boat as it advances towards the beaches of the future. What a beautiful image. The waves coming and go, the magnetism of the ocean that can be so healing to our souls. We are on the boat, travelers in the ocean of life, and who is in charge? Christ is at the helm of that boat, of that ship. We do not want to be the shipwreck. Sometimes we may end up being the shipwreck. And then we would love for someone to have the strength and the resources and the tools to be able to help us, right? What a beautiful message. I want to repeat just for the sake of us really engraving those messages in our souls. We are all travelers in the ocean of life. Each of us remain on the boat as it advances towards the beaches of the future. And he continues, do not neglect the helm of your own vessel and always help those who share your route, unquote. And remember, dear friends, we are in this ocean of life. So are the other 7 billion plus incarnate beings and discarnate beings living off of the earth. And all of humanity in the universe. So we affect one another in those oceans. If my waters are choppy, and I'm having difficulty with my vessel, maybe someone in another side will have calm waters and they can come help me. That's the image that was inspired reading this message. And remember, today we are here and we may be in calm waters, but in our lifetimes we were reincarnated many, many times all throughout the earth, possibly, potentially. And we don't know where we're going to end up in the next lifetime. So let's reach out to those who are still struggling around the earth in spite of its technological technological advantages and advancements. Because we may tomorrow reincarnate on a place we neglected to help today. Who knows? God knows. And Christ is at the helm of the whole boat, the whole ocean of life on the earth. He continues, quote, remember, many of those with whom you are bound by your heart cry desperately on the surface of the troubled waters. It can still be supported today by your kindness and understanding. Do you know anybody who is crying desperately at the surface of the troubled waters? Figurative and literally. If someone is at the shore in desperation trying to reach another country, or if we are in the troubled waters of our lives, struggling with the companions of life in this ocean of life, when we want a hand to stand out for us, right? And he will leave us Wrap up the message by saying, quote, "Do not be afraid to disturb yourself, nor waste time in this regard. Because if we postpone the help until tomorrow, it will perhaps be necessary for us to descend into the abyss of darkness in order to look for them, suffering much more." So, dear friends, unquote, and unquote, Emmanuel, dear friends, may the ocean of your life present to you today the calm waters where your vessel can travel safely to the shore, to the beaches of the future. Imagine yourself as a calm, serene, tranquil person going through the day, sharing that serenity and calmness with everyone around you. And if you find a shipwreck along the way, or if you find troubled waters on the paths that you sail, reach out. Do not leave it until tomorrow because you need to support today. Thank you, dear friends, for the blessings of being together this morning. I hope that you can join me again for another study of the book Calmness by the Spirit Emmanuel through the mediumship of Francisco Candido Xavier when we return with another message. Until then, stay well, stay safe, take care of yourself and your loved ones. And until then, God willing, many, many blessings. I'll see you soon.